Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. And don't forget about watching us. We are on your computer or mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And if you're looking for something festive to watch, maybe live and in person, then don't forget about New Stage Theater. They've got their $1 Million Quartet Christmas. It is a jam-packed evening of holiday hits and classic characters you won't want to miss. And I've got Jerry Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins in the building today, but better known as Alex Burnette and Sam Jones, who are playing the characters within the quartet. Joining. So welcome, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to be here.
How much fun is it to come down to Mississippi, because I know you're out-of-town actors, and get to represent some of our most, notable in terms of music, and have so much fun in the Christmas spirit?
It's a great time, man. I mean, we've played these characters a couple times in other theaters around the country, so it's good to kind of come back to it.
Oh, you brought them home.
Yeah.
This is like the home.
Well, that's what's so cool is that we get to play it so close to where these guys actually were playing all this music in the 50s and everything. So
and we actually opened last night on December 4th, and the show takes place on December 4th, 1956. So that it feels very special to be doing it here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so who wants to take, in terms of just sort of explaining for those who may not know what the $1 Million Quartet Christmas is all about? Kind of how do you wrap that up and sort of explain?
Sure. So it's sort of this apocryphal night, but on December 4th, 1956, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, and Johnny Cash all happened to be at Sun Records in Memphis, Tennessee on the same day. And Sam Phillips, the owner of the recording studio, just hit record and listened to them jam all night long. And they sang a bunch of gospel songs and a couple Christmas tunes and some of their big hits and some of their favorite songs like by Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and guys like that. And it just became this sort of legendary night. You can listen to the real recording session of them really just sort of hanging out and playing on a piano. But then, they turned it into a musical, and it's become this kind of global sensation. It's been on cruise ships, and it's been all around the country and everything, and we've had the pleasure of being able to do it everywhere. And
now we have the pleasure of getting to see it here in Mississippi at New Stage Theater. You guys opened yesterday. How are the shows running?
It's going awesome.
So far, so good.
It was.
That meant that they are going awesome, but I mean, at 7 p.m. People wanted to see them.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
7 p.m. shows usually. There's some matinees on Sundays, I think, at 2 p.m. We've got a matinee next week on a Wednesday, 1 p.m.
Yeah, December 11th at 1 p.m.
Yeah. And some 10 a.m. shows, also School Fest performances.
Yeah, that would be really, really nice. Yeah, and actually this Saturday is Mississippi Theater Night. So if you call our box office at the New Stage Theater box office and you mention Mississippi Theater or the Mississippi Theater Association, you can get a special discounted ticket for $25. So give them a call.
Give him a call. Okay, Alex, you're playing Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yes.
Did you know who that was before you auditioned for this role?
I certainly did. I think my opinions on him have kind of varied since I've started playing him. Because, he's got a storied past.
You don't have to tell anybody in Mississippi about that.
Absolutely. I'm figured. But, he's a mercurial performer, and that's really kind of a fun thing to kind of embody. And the show is like a fantasy version of these guys. So I can kind of lean into the fun aspects of Jerry Lee.
Do you play the piano?
I do.
Did you play it prior to this, or did you have to learn how to?
I did play piano, but I kind of come from a cocktail jazz background, so I did have to learn the Jerry Lee style of sitting on the keyboard, playing it with your feet, sliding across it.
Couple of drinks help with that, absolutely.
You are right.
You may not sound as good, but you are definitely more flexible.
He sounds great. He sounds great, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the Lewis way.
Doesn't me, if after that it wouldn't be, but I could definitely make it happen. Okay, so Carl Perkins, Sam, that's who you portray.
Yes.
I mean, how did you go about feeling that vibe or getting into character for that?
I really, really just tried to study him and his kind of guitar contemporaries of that time. So I watched probably every video I could find. I listened to every record I could find of Carl and of Chuck Berry and of Bo Diddley, just really working on that southern minor pentatonic country sound. And just watching interviews of him and trying to kind of learn where his head was at this time, because he also has sort of a storied past of he thought he was going to be this big superstar, and then tragically he was in a terrible car accident with his band right before going to play music on a big New York television show, and so his kind of big dreams were cut short. He ended up coming back a little bit later in his career, but he had sort of a hard time in the 50s, so it's been interesting kind of leaning into his story at that time as well.
So how much fun is it kind of getting to go back in time? Because I know in terms of set and props and all the things from wardrobe, I mean, New Stage always knocks it out of the park as well as I know it's a traveling set, that you will be transformed into like a different sort of time. How is that, like, every day getting up and getting dressed like you're in the 50s?
It's incredible. Honestly, it feels very Christmassy.
Yeah.
There's this warm kind of retro coziness to it. And again, this is the Christmas edition of $1 Million Quartet. So it's all Christmas music, but it's that classic 50s style. So, I mean, it feels a little bit like coming to work in an office in the 50s. I mean, it's, in a very fun way. Like,
yeah.
And then I get to stomp on the keyboard. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, it's just so fun being able to play all these songs that are from that era. Like we get Blue Christmas and some very, very fun rockabilly versions of like Jingle Bells and Rocking Around the Christmas Tree and everything. So being able to play the songs in the style of these guys with songs that are from that time period, it's just such a treat. We're really, really lucky to be able to do this.
So you guys are Jerry Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins, but you also have Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley. I mean, all four such great personalities, very distinct personalities, very distinct sounds, very distinct, mannerisms and the way they entertain. Is it scary coming up there with people having, like, you're not them, obviously. I mean, but like, but you're, how do you make them your own without like trying to be a carbon copy? Or are you trying to be a carbon copy? Does that make sense?
It's interesting. I mean, I think, them being so distinct makes it a little easy to, like, in our relationships with each other kind of are very clearly defined by who these guys are. And frankly, the audience's expectations of the characters makes it, there's these rigid things that we can kind of go by. But living this kind of truthful day-to-day, like, conversation with these guys also is it's like a fascinating, like that's where the truth is, right? Like how they interact with each other, as opposed to just being these kind of cartoon like impressions.
Yeah, it's a fine balance between like doing an like not being an impersonator, but being able to play kind of homage to these guys. Like there's specific kind of poses that Elvis and Johnny are gonna be expected, and then as Jerry Lee and Carl sort of specifically, there's musical lines that people are going to immediately recognize in very specific songs. So you want to just make sure that you're paying respect to the original thing while still kind of making it your own and living truly as an actor on stage. Yeah.
And it's also kind of finding where that like comes from, like the poses for Elvis or like the stuff with Jerry Lee on the piano, that all that high aggressive glissing, and it comes out of this like fire that he has. So it's, that gives it truthfulness to it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So folks who maybe wanting to come out and see $1 Million Quartet Christmas, is this a good family kind of show? I mean, not all theater is made for the whole family, but it feels like this would be a hard one not to be. I mean, in terms of, is it good for the whole family?
I would say so, yeah. I would say it's absolutely one for the family. I mean, people are going to be getting up and dancing by the end of the show. There's sort of a, without getting too much into spoilers, there's sort of a concert at the end of the play where we all play some of our bigger hits. So people are going to be getting up and dancing and clapping along and maybe even singing along if they want to.
It's like, are we allowed to sing along? Because I know with the whole,
I mean,
Wicked.
it's happened. It's happened to us.
It's like scared to sing in church now,
right,
like,
Right.
No. People have sung along in the past for sure. So
So it's going to be songs that they're going to be familiar with.
For sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And then do you even have to know, I mean, I can't imagine anybody listening to Good Things that doesn't know Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, or Elvis Presley. But if you're not familiar for some reason with their, scope of work, can you still come and enjoy the essence of Christmas and the music and all of that without it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
Well, let's go back to how we get our tickets and sort of the times and things for folks. Can you get tickets there? Do you need to get them in advance? What's the best way out?
You can do newstagetheater.com, and that's theater with the R-E. And you've got the box office also. You can give a call to 601-948-3533, extension 223. Extension 223.
Yeah.
This is why they keep me on stage.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and again, we do have Mississippi Theater Night coming up this Saturday. So that's if you call our box office and you mention Mississippi Theater Night or the Mississippi Theater Association, you can get tickets for $25. But that's only if you call the box office.
Gotcha. And how long will you guys be running the show?
we are playing until December 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a couple of weeks. So people even traveling in, I feel like this would make for a great stocking stuffer real quick, like in heading out and making a good trip or something for girls' night or anyway.
Something fun to do with the family.
Fun to do with the family as
Yeah.
well. So I love that you guys are here and you get to do this in Mississippi at New Stage Theater where it all comes down. What do y'all come eat whenever you get to come to Mississippi and do this?
I just
The
found
food has been incredible.
Yeah, it's been really good. I found a good barbecue place in Fondren. The name is escaping me right now, but
Pig and Pint?
Pig and Pint. That was exactly it. It was Pig and Pint. Yeah, that's exactly the one. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, there's all kinds of
Manship
stuff.
is good.
Manship's
Elvis is great.
Poppy's Pies.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we
yeah.
can do, we can feed you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really love Dog Mud Tavern. I went
Yeah.
there the other night too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, am I allowed to say break a leg?
You are?
So-
Please.
okay.
Please,
Yeah.
please do.
We'll
I'd be
continue to
insulted
break
if
a
you
leg.
didn't.
And folks, if you want to get out and see $1,000,000 Quartet Christmas, they'll be playing through December 22nd. Just head up to New Stage Theater. It'll have all the information you need there. But I appreciate your time and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
All right, stick with us. We got more for you.